Now at 6:30, for the second time in less than 2 weeks, there's been a major incident at the Hanford nuclear site. Tonight, new evidence of a possible new leak in a massive underground nuclear waste tank. Good evening. So this comes just 10 days after a tunnel collapsed, exposing radioactive equipment to the atmosphere. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Wright.
I'm Lori Matsukawa. Investigator Susanna Frame has been closely watching the situation in Hanford. She's been working the phones all day to get an update on what exactly happened at the tank farm. Susanna.
Lori, this is why this is a big deal. There's only one other double shell tank at Hanford that's confirmed to be leaking. The double shells are supposed to be the toughest tanks of them all. They were never supposed to leak. We've got one, and now we have signs that another one may be leaking. How did they get the sign? A group of workers put down a robotic piece of equipment, and it came up contaminated.
This is the type of remote-controlled ultrasonic device that came up dirty, contaminated with radiation last night. It was the first time they've seen this at the massive underground nuclear waste tank known as AZ-101. It's here in the outer safety shell of the tank where the robot picked up radioactive isotopes. This spot is never supposed to be contaminated. Why is that a bad sign? Inside the main tank, 800,000 gallons of toxic nuclear waste, sludge so hot it boils itself. If it does leak, the dangerous waste could hit the groundwater and make its way to the Columbia River. Mike Geffrey is a retired Hanford worker and tank expert.
I'm pretty upset about it, to say the least. I can't really say how I really feel about it on TV, but I'm upset because we're just dragging our feet out there again. I mean, just waiting until something happens instead of being proactive or reactive. And when the government does that, it costs the taxpayers a lot of money, and it's not fair to the people of Washington.
This is the second major event at Hanford in 10 days' time. A week ago Tuesday, this tunnel collapsed, exposing highly radioactive solid pieces of equipment to the atmosphere. It was a site-wide emergency. Yet another sign that the old weapons plant is falling apart. The infrastructure is breaking down while the federal government in charge is trying to play catch-up.
It's a shame that we have to wait till a problem like this comes up before we pull our head out of the sand, build some new tanks. They definitely need new tanks right now.
And right now, there are no plans to build new tanks. Bad news, bad planning, many people say, because the single shell tanks, they're falling apart, they're leaking, and now we have a sign that there might be a second double shell tank doing the same. I have to say that when they had the first double shell tank leaking, signs of that appeared many years ago. What did the U.S. Department of Energy do? They ignored it. Not this time. So in my personal experience, I'm seeing a different response. Instead of waiting years, literally years to do something, about a year to put a camera down in there, this time they waited about an hour. They already have a camera that went down in there last night. They did not see any liquid in that safety space I showed you there in the graphic, but it still could be a leaker, and they'll be doing testing in the days to come, and the state of Washington tells me they're going to be on top of it. For now, I'm Susanna Frame, reporting live in the studio.